Yumeko Jabami, a transfer student who enrolls at Hyakkaou Private Academy, a school that looks prestigious on the surface but is filled with complete weirdos and psychopaths. By night it transforms into a battlefield where students wager fortunes, reputations, and their futures. In this academy, money equals status, and losing can drop you straight to the bottom. But Yumeko isn't interested in power, popularity, or control. She's only there for the pleasure. And when someone puts their life on the line purely for pleasure, that's when things get truly unpredictable. Approaching its 122nd anniversary, Hyakkaou Private Academy gets a new transfer student, Yumeko Jabami. Yumeko joins the second-year Cherry Blossom class, and Ryota Suzui, the class representative, is assigned to give her a tour of the academy. While showing her around, Yumeko notices a tag of pet on his necklace. Basically, he lost a gambling match against Mary Saotome and owes her a debt of 5 million yen that he has the inability to pay off. Instantly, Ryota warns Yumeko to be careful, as many students end up falling into debt, as the gambling culture of this academy might get a little too scary. Instead of being scared, Yumeko laughs. She finds gambling thrilling. Back in class, Yumeko is surrounded by curious classmates wanting to know personal details about her. One of them, Mary Saotome, introduces herself and challenges Yumeko to a gambling match after school. Even after seeing Ryota worried, Yumeko immediately accepts the challenge. After school, the classroom is turned into a gambling den. Mary suggests they play Vote Rock Paper Scissors, an original game that was created by the class in which students draw rock, paper, or scissors onto a card that is then placed into a metal box that prevents the players from seeing what's on them. The players draw 3 cards from the box. They choose one card to play. If it is a tie, they use another card. If they tie 3 times, the set is restarted. Since players cannot choose their moves freely, the game relies on the ability to read the flow of the game. Just then, Mary gives 120 chips worth 10,000 yen each to Yumeko. To start the game, Yumeko bet with 2 chips as their classmates began filling out cards. Ryota explains that players often get repeated cards like 2 rocks and 1 scissor. Noticing which symbol appears the most leads to victory. Both girls draw their first cards. Mary gets a scissor while Yumeko draws rock. Obviously, Yumeko won this round and achieved 2 of Mary's chips. Continuing the game, Yumeko bets 50 chips, leaving everyone shocked. In the next set, Mary wins a big bet. Fearless, Yumeko keeps betting higher, yet she still loses all the rounds. After a while, Mary assumes that Yumeko must be scared after losing so many rounds. Unfazed, Yumeko once again bets 2 of her chips, making Mary laugh as she has only 24 chips left, while Mary literally gets 260 chips saved. After losing all her chips, Yumeko asks for one final round. At this point, Mary is shocked, while Ryota is concerned. Out of nowhere, Yumeko places a stack of yen onto the desk and places a massive bet of 10 million yen. The entire class is taken aback, but Mary is livid as her opponent is risking her money for nothing. However, to Yumeko, this is everything. Making such high-risk bets on a single game makes the game interesting. She believes that madness is simply the essence of gambling, and that in a capitalist society, money is the ruling force and synonymous with one's own life. Meanwhile, in the student council room, the president receives a report on Yumeko, which fascinates her. She is happy that there is a snake within their paradise now. On the other hand, Mary refuses to gamble anymore. That being said, Yumeko taunts her about being scared. This infuriates Mary's pride, who decides to play the new round. Alternatively, Mary is confident, as most of her classmates are helping her cheat with the hopes of increasing their own social status or owing her a debt of some sort. In the final round, Yumeko reveals that she knows this game is rigged. She already noticed Mary mixing the cards during small bets. Conversely, during the large cards, she repeated the same choices. These small details made Yumeko suspicious, as she is very observant. Shaken by this, Mary tries to ignore whatever Yumeko just said and focuses on drawing her cards. A tense moment settles between them as both of them produce their drawn cards. A look of pure disbelief is seen on Mary's face as she draws a paper, and Yumeko produces scissors, revealing to her that she lost the game, allowing Yumeko to win 8.8 million yen. Mary is in disbelief. She wanted to defeat Yumeko and make her the pet just like Ryota. Now she asks for time to pay such a large amount. Before leaving, Yumeko announces that Mary's debt is nullified, as she had fun playing the game. Later on, Ryota catches up to Yumeko. Curious, he wants to know how she got to know about the cheating. Basically, Yumeko suspected from the beginning that something fishy was going on. She knew that there had to be someone signaling the class which symbol to draw. After noticing for a while, she observed that many students were not looking at her or Mary, but someone behind her, and that was Ryota. With the help of a small hand mirror, Yumeko got to know Ryota's signals. When she found out which symbol was being favored, she used the opposite symbol. Seemingly relieved at this, Ryota asks Yumeko how she knew to pull out the scissors card in the last round. Yumeko reveals that it was pure luck. Guilty of his actions, Ryota admits that he is planning to drop out soon, as he is unable to pay off the debt. He wishes he had the courage of Yumeko. Abruptly, Yumeko hands him a large stack of cash to express her gratitude towards him, since she had a fun time gambling. Embarrassed, Ryota tries to refuse, but she insists. Yumeko only likes gambling because the result is uncertain. She hates situations in which she knows she will win. At that moment, Ryota realizes that Yumeko isn't as normal as she seems, but instead a compulsive gambler. On a rainy morning, Yumeko greets Ryota, though this time Ryota isn't wearing his pet locket. When Ryota greets her with her last name, Yumeko suggests he shouldn't be this formal, as they are friends now. On the way to their classroom, Ryota shares his plan on paying back Yumeko for the gift due to the fact that the money helped him pay off the debt and remove his pet tag. However, Yumeko refuses, as she had fun gambling with him. As they walk into the class, they spot Mary covered in graffiti, a broken doll that resembles her, a pet tag, and a knife that is stabbed into the desk. Concerned, Yumeko wants to know if Mary is being bullied. Shoving her pet locket in Yumeko's face, Mary blames Yumeko for everything. A bunch of students pressurize Mary to wear the tag, or else her debt will be increased to humiliate her even more. The cast begins to chant Mike, the name for female pets. Not having much of a choice, Mary ends up wearing the locket. At lunch, Ryota tries to explain the system of this academy to Yumeko. He assures her that this isn't her fault. The academy is filled with influential and wealthy students, and skills such as bargaining, lip reading, and the ability to compete are important skill sets that are essential for making of students who will eventually become leaders in their respective fields. Because of this, gambling determines social status. Hence, a ranking system, student council payments, manages all gambling within school grounds. The rankings are announced at irregular intervals. If a student is in the 100 lowest ranking students out of the 3,000 who attend the academy, then they are treated as an uncooperative student. A pet. Male pets are regarded as Pochi or Fido, while females are called Mike or Mittens. As they talk, a guy is being badly bullied. The situation got worse when 2 years back, the current president won the presidency through a gambling match. She introduced the idea of pets and payment. Just then, Ryota notices Yumeko's hand trembling. He assumes she is scared, so he apologizes. In reality, Yumeko is thrilled. The adrenaline rush in her body after hearing all of this is unmatched, and she feels happy that she joined such an academy. Soon, both of them noticed a group of students gambling. Ryota points out one of the first-year students, Itsuki Sumeragi. She is a member of the student council, and her father is the president of a large toy company, which makes her insanely rich. Yumeko excitedly expresses her desire to play against her in a game, to which Ryota attempts to sway her that she shouldn't. Right away, Itsuki approaches them herself and challenges Yumeko for a gambling match, as she heard about the earlier match. Yumeko accepts the challenge. Conversely, Mary is cleaning up coffee after being ordered like a servant. But when she gets to know that a match is about to happen between Itsuki and Yumeko, she rushes to watch it. The game they are playing is double memory. 2 decks of cards will be used, making a total of 104 cards. Players must match both the number and the suit to earn a point. Itsuki places 20 million yen in chips on the table and asks Yumeko to match the bet. When Yumeko clarifies she doesn't have that much money, Itsuki offers to lend her 20 million yen without interest. Itsuki did it to promote her father's company products, especially the card deck that she is using, which was created by the company, which is what really matters. The gambling match begins. Yet the chances of finding a match by chance were nearly impossible. It is necessary for the players to remember the placement of the cards. Both the girls play insanely, as Yusato ends up finding 18 matches while Itsuki finds 22. At the end of the game, Yumeko fails to produce a match, and Itsuki wins the game, having won a majority of the 54 pairs of cards in the game, leaving Yumeko with a debt of 20 million yen. Right away, Yumeko begs for another round since she can't pay such a big amount of debt. Placing a briefcase on the table, Itsuki reveals her strange hobby, collecting real nails. Thus, if Yumeko loses this game, she has to pay with her nails. Without any hesitation, Yumeko agrees. In this round, Itsuki uses different kinds of cards. This deck has a temperature mechanism in which once the cards reach a certain temperature, a small mark appears on the back of the cards that differentiates them from a normal brand. Very cleverly, Itsuki uses a circuit in her bag that allows her to keep the cards warm, making it easier for her to find the matches. Even though Itsuki was confident that she would win, Yumeko started making matches. To her surprise, Yumeko hints that her company's reputation would be destroyed if their cheating cards were exposed. Itsuki realizes that Yumeko may be aware of her trickery. Amid this confusion, Yumeko flips over 54 matching pairs of cards in a single turn, effectively winning the game. While Itsuki is shocked, Yumeko explains she already noticed the marked cards were similar to the previous deck. Therefore she memorized their positions in the first game and pretended to lose. Itsuki starts crying when Yumeko suggests they both gamble their nails, and the one who loses should rip all their nails. In the student council room, the president gets to know about the match between Itsuki and Yumeko. Having said that, the president decides to meddle with Yumeko a little bit. Later on, Ryota and Yumeko go to the traditional culture club room, as there is a public match occurring at the moment. In the club room, poor Mary now has an accrued debt amount of 49 million yen. Mary screams out of agony and frustration, while Yumeko is excited by the world of high-risk gambling around her. Upon entering the traditional culture room, Ryota and Yumeko find Mary in the middle of a gambling match. Right now she is facing Yuriko Nishinotoin, and she is visibly stressed. When she notices Yumeko, she seems shocked about why she is there. Just then, Yuriko suggests that Mary shouldn't get so angry since they are gambling after a long time. Yet Mary is annoyed due to the fact that this match is totally one-sided. While Yuriko has almost 17 million yen, Mary has only 3 million yen. Noticing such a large gap between the amounts, Mary believes that Yuriko has been cheating. Still, she is not ready to give up. With the belief that she can turn the game around in her favor, Mary places a bet of 32 chips. The dealer of the game, Kamagusu, places 10 miniature swords into a cup. She shakes the cup and counts down from 10, while Mary and Yuriko quickly place their chips on numbers from 1 to 30 on a board, hoping that one of the swords will land on her chosen numbers. Mary spreads her chips across 5 numbers: 2, 4, 8, 16, or 22. When the cup is lifted, one of the swords is sticking out of the 22 number slot. Yuriko praises Mary, but tells her that the result is death. Because Mary placed 6 chips on 22, she lost 180 chips, equivalent to 18 million yen. With Yuriko's winnings, Mary's overall accrued debt comes to 49.6 million yen. With deep regrets, Mary leaves the place. She is aware that she ended up like this because of her own poor choices. Ryota is upset that Mary was forced to play a public match. Basically, a public match is a right that students with a pet status are guaranteed. Pets have a right to challenge someone to a gambling match only once. No one is allowed to refuse as long as the bets are reasonable. Student council members can participate in the matches without a limit on their bets. And as a result of this, pets can turn their lives around and get rid of their status through a single high-stakes game. Right away, Yuriko invites Yumeko for a gambling match. When Yumeko accepts the challenge, they decide to play the game life or death. 10 swords placed in a cup will be dropped onto a board having several holes labeled from 1 to 30. If it faces down, it means death, and the player loses 30 times their bet. The players will have only 10 seconds to place the bet after the cup is shaken. Yumeko suggests betting 40 million yen. Hence, in the first round, both of them bet 10 million yen. After the dealer shakes and drops the swords, they have 10 seconds to place their bets. Yumeko quickly sets her chips down without any hesitation. Conversely, Yumeko studies the board and places hers at the last moment. However, neither of them wins anything. Yumeko was about to win 30 million, but she missed it by 1 number. During the second round, Yumeko ragebaits Yuriko. Still, rather than feeling humiliated, Yuriko was amused. In that instant, Yumeko bets all her chips, revealing that her earlier taunts and insults were just to provoke Yuriko into betting emotionally. She mentions how Yuriko has been cheating in this entire game. Initially, Yumeko observes Komagusu and the other people having similar marks on their hands. At first they looked like moles, in reality they were piercings. She believes there's likely a magnet in one of the swords, and the dealer can force a sword to magnetically stick to the side of a cup with their piercings. And by sliding their hand on the outside of the cup, they can force the sword to move into any position they want. Yuriko refuses, as such a small act of cheating can't lead to victory. Yumeko agrees with Yuriko since the dealer can only handle one of the swords like that, and the rest depends on pure luck. Even if Yuriko lost one game, she could make back the money she lost through several games. As a result of this, the most important part of the scheme wasn't the trick itself, but Yuriko's wealth. To make things fair, Yumeko declares that if her number 24 is pointed in the life position, then the 40 chips she bet will force a debt of 2 billion yen on Yuriko. Out of nowhere, the student council's president, Kirari, enters the place with Runa and Ririka to watch the match. When the cup is lifted, a sword is found in slot 7, facing upward. Yuriko had chips there, so she won 195 million yen. Yumeko loses 150 million yen. Yuriko wins overall. Everyone believes that Yumeko lost. Though this isn't the case, Yumeko is aware it is like a bear in the hole situation. It's a type of cheating where someone would hide under the floor and secretly change dice results. She is sure that this procedure is done by one of the president's people. Accepting the defeat, Yumeko announces her desire to gamble against Kirari. The next day, in her classroom, Yumeko is confronted with graffiti on her desk, torn textbooks, a broken doll that resembles her with a knife sticking out of its chest, and a mic tag. Due to the pressure, she ends up wearing it. A bunch of girls towers over her to bully her, but they end up running away when Yumeko lies on the ground and acts like a possessed cat. In the student council room, Sayaka presents Mary and Yumiko's schedule to Kurari. While the other members talk about Yumiko's perceived failures over her match with Yumiko, Kurari is interested in Yumiko, so she begins to open her schedule file. Considering that Yumiko is piled up with a lot of debt, Ryota gathers 1 million yen for her next gamble. However, Yumiko refuses as the student council has yet to collect debts from her. Ryota is shocked as the council is famous for being heartless when it comes to collecting money. Afterwards, Yumiko shows Ryota the life contract form issued by the student council. To annoy her more, Runa remarks that the form dictates all that the student council wants her to do during the course of her life, including her marriage. When Mary tries resisting, Runa threatens her, mentioning that there are many ways to make her obedient. Intimidated and humiliated, Mary walks off. Alternatively, Ryota reads Yumemi's life contract form, and he is horrified. On the contrary, Yumemio brushes it off as she finds it very amusing. On the way to their class, Ryota and Yumiko run into Jun and his friend. Cleverly, they lure both of them into a quiet alley. Upon reaching there, Jun demands that Yumiko remove her clothes. After playfully removing her jacket, Yumiko refuses to expose herself in front of strangers. Because of the rejection, Jun is enraged and threatens to assault Yumiko. When Ryota tries to help her, he is stopped by Jun's friend. Before things get out of hand, Midari of the Student Council Beautification Committee steps in. Known for her love for risky situations, Midari whips out a revolver and points at him, recounting that there is 1 bullet in the chamber and they should engage in a gamble. If she pulls the trigger and nothing happens, Jun can do as he pleases to Midari, but if the opposite happens, he would be shot. To make things more intense, she suggests he shoot her instead. If no bullets are fired, he has to stop bullying Yumiko. Disturbed by these sick offers and challenges, Jun and his friends leave. Simultaneously, Yumiko isn't scared at all, yet she thanks Midari for helping her, promising to repay her kindness. In the girls' washroom, Midari was irritated as Yuzid refused and left without gambling. Seeking excitement, she aims her revolver at her head and pulls the trigger. When nothing happens, she starts laughing like a maniac. Determined to save Yumiko from the house pet tag, Ryota notices a flyer about the Great Debt Repayment exercise happening soon. Even Mary sees the flyer and heads towards the location. At the Great Debt Repayment Hall, Sayaka, the secretary of the student council, explains the rules of the debt exchange game. This game will be played in a group of 4 students. The player with the lowest debt will take the highest position, and the one with the highest debt will take the lowest position. Their respective debts will be changed in that manner. Players can win exemption from their debt if they win. Yumiko, who is standing next to Mary, calls it a generous offer. While Mati still resents her, Yumiko tries to patch things up enthusiastically. After a while, players are asked to write down their debts and to whom they owe it. The council claims to clear all debts for people who owe money to multiple individuals. Eventually, the groupings are announced. Mary and Yumiko are placed together, along with Jun Kiwatari and Tsubomi Nanami. The game they all are going to play will be 2-card Indian poker. Here, the face cards and joker will be removed. The players will be provided with 2 cards. They can see one of their cards, but the second one will be placed on their forehead so that they cannot see it. The strongest hand is a pair, while the second strongest is when the suit matches. Finally, a pig is the weakest, where neither the value nor the suit matches. If hands tie in type, the higher numbers win. The council has prepared 4 different colored chips, 10 each. The game will last 10 rounds, and each player must ante one of their own chips and can only bet a maximum of 5 chips. Additionally, the student council won't interfere in any kind of cheating unless it is reported, and even then, exchanged chips will not be reversed. In the first round, Jun is the dealer and bets 1 chip. Instantly, Tsubomi matches the bet, and to Mary's surprise, even Yumiko bets one of her own chips. Uncertain, Mary chooses to fold. The cards get revealed, and Jun wins this round with a pair of the same suits. For the second round, Tsubomi becomes the dealer. She bets one of her own chips. Mary and Yumiko both fold, while Jun raises 4 of his own chips. Upon this, Tsubomi folds. Hence, Jun wins the round and begins to mock the other players. In round 3, Yumiko bets after seeing her cards. Jun raises it by 2 of his chips. With that, he offers her a piece of advice, suggesting she preserve her own chips. Though Yumiko is here to win and is in no mood to give up, she raises 3 of her own chips. Eventually, Yumiko wins with a pair of 4-10 hearts. In the 4th round, Mary deals the cards. Glancing at her cards, Mary spots the 80s of spades and plans to bet one of her chips. Jun calls one of his own. Tsubomi folds, and Yumiko bets one of Jun's chips. In that instant, Mary reflects on what will happen if she loses. The poor girls will have to resign to the life contract, marry a politician, and have his children. However, Mary isn't going to make this happen. She is going to fight for her life and rights. Therefore, she raises 3 of her own chips, each worth 5 million yen. Witnessing this, Joan can't help but taunt her, and even acknowledge the fact that she and Yumeko are working together in an alliance. He is sure that Mary would only bet this boldly if she had suited cards. Being sure that this is the case, he folds his cards. Surprisingly, Yumeko folds as well. With a sly grin, Mary challenges Joan whether he really thinks he is that smart. Before anyone could understand anything, Mary revealed that she had a pig, the weakest card. Joan is horrified and turned pale. Yumeko is delighted. Now the intense match between Mary, Yumeko, Joan and Nanami continues. In round 4, Yumeko had just bet 25 million yen, even after having the pig. Mary confidently tells Joan that her earlier win should have made it obvious that they were not playing normally. Though Joan doesn't care, as Mary only won one round, and it isn't the end of the world. Conversely, Mary isn't scared of a moron like him, unless she has enough chips. Enraged, Joan tries to lunge forward to attack her. Sayaka reminds him that no violence is allowed. When round 5 begins, Joan bets one of his chips while Mary and Nanami fold. But Yumeko raises the bet by 4 chips of Joan. Joan doesn't give up and calls with one of his and 2 of Nanami's chips. The cards are revealed. Joan has a weak pig, yet Yumeko has a flush. Obviously she wins this round. Moving on to turn 6, Mary bets 3 of Joan's chips. Scared, everyone else folds. Mary can't help but laugh as she only had a pig. After looking at Nanami's remaining 2 chips, Joan panics as he realizes that this game is not about reading expressions. Something else is happening at this point, because how can Mary play this well and make a fool out of him? Mary and Yumeko already figured out what was happening. Turning towards Nanami, Yumeko explains whatever is happening here. Basically, Nanami has been tilting her card positions very cleverly to signal Joan and ask him if his suit is subtle. Yumeko suggests Nanami stop it, as it is a dead giveaway. From the very beginning, Mary was aware that Nanami was Joan's puppet. This is why she teamed up with Yumeko. They knew they were cheering as Joan was frowning whenever he saw Nanami's cards. Unexpectedly, Yumeko explains to Nanami to cheat by putting their hands under the desk so no one can see. Also, she is not going to report this cheating, as these twists make the game interesting. Joan reluctantly admits defeat in hiding it, and the game continues, even after the revelation that information is being shared. In the 7th round, Nanami uses Yumeko's technique and signals that she has a strong flush. Joan orders her to bet, but he insults her while giving instructions. Mary points out that Joan is foolish. If he were holding a good hand, he wouldn't give it away by asking Nanami to play instead. Thus both she and Yumeko folded, so the game moved to turn 8. At that moment, Joan calculates the total. Yumeko was in the lead with 18 million yen, then he was next with 98 million, then Mary, and lastly Nanami. Joan knew if he lost further he would fall into debt and become a house pet. Surprisingly, this time Mary successfully bluffs everyone, revealing a strong pair and winning this round. Because there are only 2 rounds left, Joan is panicking. He pressured Nanami to raise the bet with Yumeko's chip, not caring if she loses. Not having much of a choice, Nanami acts like a puppet and obeys his command. Unfazed, Yumeko calls with Joan's chip, and Mary folds. The cards are revealed, and Joan wins this round with a flush, celebrating as if he has won the overall game. In the last round, Sayaka advises everyone to not make an immediate decision. Yumeko is excited as hell. She wants to play this game forever, while Mary wants to get over it. Joan knows he is taking the lead, but Mary and Yumeko can turn the tables anytime. Therefore he needs to be careful. Revealing that she has a powerful pair of 9s, Nanami bets a Mary chip. To everyone's surprise, Yumeko bets one of her chips on Mary's victory. This was confusing for Mary, as they planned to secure first place. Though Yumeko wants the game to be thrilling, she even wants Mata to help Nanami win. Hesitant, Mary eventually gave in and raised Nanami with 3 Yumeko chips. Terrified, Jin orders Nanami to fold. Before she could do anything, Yumeko approached Nanami and asked her if she was really going to spend her whole life as a house pet. These words trigger something inside Nanami, and she pushes Yumeko away. Yumeko doesn't know what Nanami went through in her life. Before everything went wrong, Nanami had beautiful long hair. Once she joined this academy, Joan and his gang bullied her and even cut her hair. Her beautiful hair was her pride, and once it was gone she lost her spark. In that instant, rage overpowered the obedience, and Nanami thought of taking revenge. She is aware that this round can change Joan's life. Enraged, Nanami screams and declares that she is not a house pet or anyone's puppet. The moment the cards are revealed, Nanami wins the round with the strong pair. At that point, everything got ruined for Joan. Mary got first position, Nanami second. Conversely, Yumeko was in third, and Joan ended up being the last. Lufied, Joan calls the result wrong, pointing out that he had 5 Yumeko chips, which should be worth more than that. Though this isn't the case, Mary and Yumeko swapped the value boards at the start. Yumeko's chips actually had a value of 5 million yen, whilst Mary's were 31 million yen. Since chip values are based on declared debt divided by 10, their chip values were reversed, and it was the other way around for both Mary and Yumeko. When Jun announces that the swapping isn't allowed, Mary reminds him that he lied too, claiming he only owed 10 million to a friend. The difference was that Mary and Yumeko lied smartly. The 10 million yen Mary wrote down would be sent to Ryota. Having said that, Jun charges forward to attack them, but Sayaka tossers him, informing him that he has a debt of 310 million yen, and if he couldn't pay it off he was going to be a house pet. Jun's screams echo in the whole area. Alternatively, Nanami, who is still a house pet, feels a little better and empowered, while Mary and Yumeko have officially patched things up and become friends. Later on, Sayaka is concerned. The student council wanted Junin or either Yumeko to defeat the other. Yumeko chose to be in third place willingly to spice up the game. She is not greedy for money but for excitement. Hence, Sayaka is worried. She hopes they were right to let go of Yumiko's reign, wishing they hadn't unleashed a savage. In the restroom, Mary is washing her face when 3 of her bullies nervously approach her and congratulate her on paying off her debt. In addition to that, they apologize for how they behaved with her when she was a house pet. However, Mary doesn't hold any grudges and invites them to hang out sometime. Outside the restroom, she runs into Ryota, who knows for a fact that Mary is definitely holding grudges despite what she said. It was true, Mary wasn't going to forgive anyone who made her suffer. Just then, she changes the topic to Yumeko. She points out that Yumeko has not paid off her own debt yet, even though she won a huge amount of money during the debt settlement game. Also, she wants to know Yumiko's plan. Ryota doesn't know much. He is aware that Yumeko is planning to challenge the president of the student council. Suddenly, Yumeko appears, declaring she doesn't deserve the money won. Mary clarifies she doesn't want the money and tells Yumeko to keep it. At the student council meeting, everyone is present except for Itsuki and Kirari. They all discuss how Yumeko hasn't paid off the debt, even after having money in her account. After reviewing her background, they get to know that her parents are dead and her older sister is hospitalized. Yuriko is curious, why is Yumeko not clearing the debt when she can? Runa mentions that Yumeko is planning to challenge Midari. Upon hearing it, Midari gets way too excited, being sure that she will lose badly. Still, she screams and runs off, announcing that Yumeko belongs to her. Later that day, Yumeko approaches Ryota, and they both end up going to the student council because of the upcoming match. Even though Ryota is concerned as Yumeko lost to Kirari once, he has no choice because he cannot say no to Yumeko. On the other hand, Mary runs into President Kirari, who invites Mary to have tea with her. On the contrary, before Ryota and Yumeko could reach the student council room, they were stopped by Midari. She drags them to the basement interrogation room, claiming that they are arrested considering that Yumeko hasn't paid 310 million yen yet. Midari makes it clear that if Yumeko wants to challenge Kirari, she has to gamble with her first. Yumeko immediately agrees. Midari explains they will play an ESP card guessing game. The dealer will line up 5 cards in a certain order. The players must guess the order. The player who guesses correctly wins the round. For each round won, the winner gets to pull the trigger of a revolver they randomly pick out of a box. Rota assumes they will use fake bullets, but Midari fires a real bullet between his legs to prove otherwise. Horrified, Ryota tries to take away Yumeko with him, yet Midari begs him to let them gamble like a maniac seeking excitement. Still, Ryota is determined to stop them. Annoyed, she points the gun at him. Yumeko steps in and agrees to the challenge. At the same time, Kirari compliments Mary for observing the loophole in the debt swapping rules during the debt settlement game. She is upset that Mary paid off her debt, as her life plan was interesting. Amused by her, she offers her a position in the student council. Stunned, Mary is speechless. Therefore, Kirari demands to know whether Mary is scared of the other members of the council or suspicious of her. Back in the basement, Yumeko has 3 demands. Ryota will be the dealer. They will play in 3 rounds, and the loser will pay a 1 billion yen debt. Thrilled, Midari agrees to everything, though she is curious why Yumeko chose to play 3 rounds only. However, Yumeko refuses to explain. Midari adds a stipulation stating that if the winner of a round misses a shot on purpose, the loser gets to shoot the winner. After agreeing to the rules, Yumeko notices Ryota's nervousness and assures him that they still have it, and they can use that. It was very confusing for Ryota. He doesn't understand what it means. Midari's beatification girls take Ryota to an observation room where he must arrange the ESP cards under camera supervision. In the observation room, he was given the cards and was told to only show the cards in his hands on the screen. To avoid any cheating, Ryota looks around to be cautious of any form of cheating. Simultaneously, Kirari is inciting Mary to join the council. She is sure that Mary belongs with them after seeing how she tricked his opponents with 300 million yen. Back at the ESP game, the beautifications are pressuring Ryota to hurry up. Ryota recalls how his life was tough when he let people bully him for being the house pet. Yumeko helped him a lot, so it is his time to repay her. Picking up the cards, he wonders how he's going to help Yumeko. Amid everything, Ryota grasps that Yumeko hinted him to make Midari believe that they are communicating through some signals. To bluff her, he signals a peace sign. Noticing this, Midori becomes suspicious of them, not having any idea what he was doing. Out of curiosity, Yumeko then asks Midori if there's any way Ryota can see what they're doing on his end. Midori reveals he can't hear them, but he can see all of them. Hence, Yumeko waves at him through the monitor, and Ryota waves back. Afterwards, Yumeko and Midori start loading their respective revolvers with bullets. Panicked and scared for his friend, Ryota flips his cards as instructed. They reveal their guesses. Midori wins the first round by 3 points to 2. With a maniac smile, Midori grabs her revolver and aims it directly at Yumeko. Unfazed, Yumeko advises Midori not to pull the trigger. Yumeko recommends Midori doesn't pull the trigger. While Midori assumes her opponent is begging for her life, Yumeko explains that the gun she is pointing at is actually her gun, revealing a mark on the barrel of the gun. And not only did she load half of the gun with lipstick, but also the remaining half with 3 bullets. It means there's a chance that the gun will misfire. Noticing Midori being unfazed, Yumeko admits that it was a bluff, and she didn't do anything like that. Amused, Midori calmly sits back on her chair, explaining that she is doing all of this for the thrill. Ranting, she even reveals she lost her left eye in a gambling match against Kurari, and he took it as the prize of that match. A flashback surfaces in Midori's mind. She owes 300 million yen to Kurari in a gambling match. Midori never cared about how much debt she had, and Kurari took it as an opportunity. Since Midori couldn't pay with money, Kurari was going to make her pay with her life. At first, Midori didn't take her seriously. However, Kurari is a total maniac. As she has never seen the back of someone's eye socket, she got this sudden urge to witness it. Thus, Midori's left eye was going to be the payment for the debt. Kurari suggested surgery for that. Yet Midori is just as crazy, maybe even crazier. Therefore, she gouged out her own eye with a pen. Seeing Kurari uninterested, Midori begs for another match, but she declines, mockingly reminding Midori that she is out of money. Manically, Midori points out her right eye in exchange for money. Ignoring it, Kurari asks her to join the student council, yet she refuses because Kurari only wanted to gamble. Having said that, Kurari vows to kill Midori if she joins the council someday. Back in the present, Midori calls it the best experience of her life as her mind went numb. It was a thrilling time for her, and she believes that Yumeko understands it, as she believes they have the same thought process. Because Kurari hasn't accepted her challenge yet, Midori thinks that Yumeko is the only option for her. After a while, the second round of the game begins with Ryota thinking about the first round and how he and Yumeko can share the information. Ryota tries to remember the alignment of everyone's card. He is aware that he has to match one of their hands. His focus was on Yumeko and his own hand, thus he remembers precise things. This man is literally panicking so badly. At the end, Ryota decides to copy Yumeko's hand from round 1. On the flip side, Mary is being pressured by Kurari to join the student council. Upset, Mary doesn't understand why this woman set up the house pet system for humans. However, according to Kurari, it is better if the weakest of the bunch is eliminated. She doesn't want the weak ones to take over the powerful ones. Back in the game, Yumeko is certain that this game will end in a draw. At this point, Midori believes that Yumeko is definitely just like her, finding pleasure in risking her life through gambling and wanting to face death together. Yumeko, however, limits the game to 3 rounds, showing she doesn't actually intend to risk dying and feels no fear because she trusts Ryota. In the second round, Yumeko wins 5-3. Midori is impressed and shocked by her opponent's gameplay. In that instant, Yumeko pulls out of the box, pointing it at Midori. Without hesitating, she pulls the trigger, but nothing happens. Yumeko figured out it was her own gun since her gun weighed less than Midori's. Realizing she can't defeat Yumeko, Midori decides to set a new plan in motion. In the observation room, Ryota is amazed by Yumeko's moves. While distracted, Midori's girls receive an order and press a remote. Ryota plans to copy Yumeko's hand again, but stops when he realizes through the monitor that Midori and her group are cheating. Though he has no choice, as Midori threatens him to line up the cards, or else Yumeko will be killed. Not having much of a choice, Ryota lays down his cards. As Ryota flips his cards, enraged by all of this, Yumeko loads her gun and points it at her opponent. Finding it fun, Midori does the same. Although Ryota is right-handed, he used his left hand in the first 2 rounds, and the wave card appeared backwards. The monitor was mirrored. In the third round, his movements weren't reversed, yet he copied her previous hand correctly, proving the feed he was watching was also mirrored. This makes it evident that Midori has been cheating all along. Yumeko anticipated this cheat and strategized accordingly. Smirking, Midori flips her cards, revealing she got all 5 cards wrong to make the draw impossible. Despite Midori's cheating and cheap tricks, when Yumeko flips her cards, the game ends with a draw. Yumeko was 100% sure about her opponent's tactics, so she got all of her cards wrong as well. Midori is overjoyed by this intense ending. Still, she is confused why Yumeko loaded the gun when she knew the game's outcome. The revolver had 6 chambers. When she loaded the gun with 2 bullets, only 4 chambers were left. Yumeko explains that with a 5-point score difference, 1 bullet would fire. If Midori got all cards wrong, a tie was impossible. But if she got some right, Yumeko risked being shot. At that moment, Midori was drooling over Yumeko, begging her to shoot her instead. Uninterested, Yumeko leaves. On the contrary, Mary stays firm in her decision, not letting Karari intimidate her. As soon as she declares to not join the council, she walks away. Later that day, Ryota approaches Yumeko. They decide to go for a sweets buffet. With that, Yumeko curiously wants to know why Ryota recreated her hand in the 3rd round of the game, even though he knew they were cheating. Ryota admits he didn't get much time to think, though he hoped Yumeko would realize he was unaware about his next move and pick up on it, uncertain of the fact that he was doing exactly what she predicted him to do. In contrast, Mary is livid considering that Karari doesn't see house pets as humans. Because of this, Mary swears to put an end to Karari and her reign over the academy. A new day begins, and Yumeko runs into Ryota, who is watching a video of Yumemite, a Japanese idol and member of the student council. She is pretty famous, though only students of her fan club can attend her events. Later on, at the locker room, Yumeko finds a letter in her locker. On the flip side, Karari is leaving in the helicopter with Mary. Just then, Sayaka rushes to stop her, informing her about the match between Midori and Yumeko. However, Karari is already aware of this, and she is leaving the academy to handle the situation. With that, she departs, ordering Sayaka to handle the rest of the matters. Because the president has left, all the responsibilities are piled up on Sayaka, due to which she is very tense. A whole week has passed since Kirari left the school. The council students have been a total chaos. There is no unity between them. The situation has worsened ever since Yumeko came to the school. A week has passed since Kirari left. There was no unity among the student council members, and ever since Yumeko came to the school, there have been even more conflicts among the members. In a meeting of the council, Kaede taunts the house pets for losing and announces they will decide what to do with them. Without hesitating, Sayaka takes their side. However, Kaede only cares about the reputation of the council. Thus, he corners Sayaka and threatens her not to interrupt in matters like these. Witnessing this, Midori steps in and defends Sayaka. Additionally, she suggests gambling with Yumeko, as after the last match, this woman is literally worshipping her. Though Kate doesn't take Midori's words seriously, still, Yuriko gives her point of view. She totally agrees with Midori, because being a house pet makes Yumeko totally eligible to play these matches, and that is what makes her so terrifying. If she uses her right to challenge the president to a match and the table turns, things will drastically change. Thrilled, Runa mentions that the president could also become a house pet if she loses to Yumeko. Even so, everyone decides they must somehow recover the debt they are owed to decrease the amount of money she has. Karari forbade that. Still, Yumeko places the investigation report of Yumeko on the table and announces that she will handle that girl. While everyone else thinks to wait for the president, Kaede and Yumemi start planning the strategy on their own, since it'd be simple for Yumemi to make a stage that would crush Yumeko. In the cafeteria, Yumeko looks way happier than usual, which makes Ryota and Mary wonder if something good happened today. Ryota is unsure if this is because of the letter she found in the locker or something else. Mary didn't know about that matter, but before Ryota could explain, Itsuki approached them with a fancy cake for Yumeko. Mary quickly recognized this girl as Itsuki, who was the one who got fired by the student council a few days ago. Mary believes her plan is to find some dirt on Yumeko and get her job back. Itsuki tries to make them believe that this isn't the case, yet no one believes her. Therefore, she sits down and reveals the real story. Basically, Etsuka's father is the CEO of one of Japan's biggest toy makers. Due to his sources, she got into the student council. However, if he gets to know that his daughter lost her position, he would be livid. With that, Etsuka confronts Yumeko about the rumors of her planning to be the president of the student council. The students, particularly the house pets, are hopeful due to this. Etsuka then explains that rumors are spreading throughout the school that despite the money Yumeko won at the debt settlement party, she remains a house pet, since she wants to challenge the president to a match and win her seat. Ryota and Mary are confused. At the same time, Ryota recalls how the school has been revolving around Yumeko lately. Alternatively, Itsuki announces that she wants Yumeko to become the president in order to join the council under her. Extending her hand, Yumeko assures Itsuki that she can join, not as a council member but as a friend. On the other hand, Yumemi is trying her best to make her fan club even more famous. She expresses her gratitude towards her fans. After the meetup, this hypocrite girl literally goes into the dressing room and keeps washing her hands thoroughly, as if she has shaken hands with some beggars. She kicks the table in anger, calling all those people disgusting. Satori suggests stopping the post-concert meet and greet at least, though Itsuki refuses the idea, as relating to them one-on-one is what makes them die-hard fans. It is nothing for Yumemi if it helps her with her dreams. If she can't do it, she can never make her dream come true. Curious, she asks Satori if she is prepared to send the message to Yumeko. The Four Eyes assure her that she will do the job tomorrow, as Kaede has prepared the budget. Ryota gets to know that Yumeko is gambling with Yumemi. He is excited but worried at the same time, considering that Yumeko has been targeted by the council members one by one. It is obvious that the council wants to restore their reputation. Outside Yumemi's dressing room, Yumeko and Ryota take permission from Saori to enter the room. After the permission, they enter that place, and Yumemi quickly recognizes Ryota, as he always attends all her concerts. The duality of this girl is that she acts like a sweetheart in front of her fans. In reality, she is an evil monster who hates everyone except herself. Afterwards, Yumemi explains to her opponent that they will be playing the top idol match. If Yumemiko loses, she will be spending the rest of her life as an idol with her. Yumemi has even decided the name of their idol unit, Dreaming Creaming Sisters. She explains the hardships of being the idol, claiming that she became one because of her fans. Though Yumemi is already aware that Yumemiko hates her fans, when Yumemi denies it, Yumemiko pulls out a torn fan letter and reads it out loud. Not having much of a choice, she confesses that she hates her fans. Yumemi is doing this since her real dream is to walk on the red carpet among the other famous celebrities. With the power of many fans, she will easily reach that goal. Without hesitating, Yumemi admits that she is disgusted by her fans. It is okay with her, as they are spending money on her instead of their own looks. Still, she hates that they dance like madmen in her concerts and sweat so much as if they are the ones doing the hard work. Hearing about the hardships, Yumeko doesn't want to become an idol, but dedicating her life to a job like that is a wonderful risk. Yumemi assures her that she will teach her everything. Even so, Yumeko believes that it won't be fun unless they both are betting their lives. Abruptly, she takes out a recorder. Yumeko has recorded everything Yumemi has said about her fans and about being an idol. With that, Yumeko leaves excitedly, as she can use the recorder in tomorrow's gambling match. At the staircase, Ryota asks about the voice recorder. Thus, Yumeko reveals that it was in the locker along with the fan letter. She is not sure who put it there, though it turned out very useful. Conversely, Saori is devastated as she throws the fan letter in the dustbin to burn it later, and she even locks the door tightly. Yumeko is sure whoever did it has a master key. Conversely, in the council room, Runa updates Kirari about the interesting situation in the school. She is enjoying this chaos a lot, and wants the president to return to school soon. The next day, after Yumemi's concert, the girls are ready for the top idol match. Yumemi's childhood dream was to be a famous celebrity in Hollywood. She was desperate to walk on the red carpet, due to which she became an idol. Now in the present, both Yumeko and Yumemo are ready for the match. The crowd is going wild. The two contestants will try their hand at a variety of games, and the winner of each round gets the right to mark one space on the grid displayed on the screen vertically, horizontally, or diagonally, similar to tic-tac-toe. The first one to mark 3 in a row will be the winner. The value of this gamble is 50 million yen. However, this isn't just about money, as this is a deal between both the girls that if Yumeko loses, she will become Yumemi's idol partner, and if Yumemi loses, her voice recording will be played in front of her fans. Sitting in the audience, Ryota is worried about Yumeko. He doesn't understand why she is doing all of this. It dawns on him that maybe Yumeko actually wants to be the president. In order to decide which game out of the 9 games will be played first, Yumemi rolls the dice. Instantly, it lands on number 4. Thus, the first game will be a singing competition. The host explains that they are going to roll these black and white dice. Black indicates the 10's place and white the 1's place. There are hundreds of students in the audience, and their tickets are marked from 0 to 99. The audience member who is chosen will lend them a smartphone so they can install a voice evaluator app. This will be done to make things fair. The virtual dice is rolled, and the number 24 appears. At first, Yumemi sings, and she receives 85 points. This was easy for her, as she is a trained singer. The next moment, Yumeko starts singing. Surprisingly, she has an amazing voice, which impresses the audience. Unexpectedly, she gets 98 points and wins the round. Using the snake symbol, Yumeko marks the center box on the grid. At this point, Yumemi is losing her calm. Still, she pretends to be humble. Deep down, she is planning ways to defeat Yumeko. Additionally, she is confident that she will be winning the rest of the rounds. Runa is enjoying the show. According to Kaede, everything is going in order. Yet Runa believes that everything doesn't always go the same way, though Kaede is prepared for every contingency. Once again, Yumemi rolls the dice, and it lands on number 9. This game of Old Maid will be played with only 1 joker and 2 aces. This is the test of acting and tactical skills, as they have to lure their opponent towards the Old Maid. Immediately, Yumemi takes the joker card first. She has planned to lose this round on purpose, as this will give Yumeko 2 points. This way, Yumemi is going to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat with 2 straight wins. In order to hand Yumeko the victory, she has folded the edge of the Joker card. She is sure that Yumeko will notice it. To Yumimi's surprise, Yumeko draws an ace on her first try and easily wins. Now Yumeko marks the upper right-hand corner of the grid. After a short break, the host calls the opponents on the stage again. Both the girls have changed their attire now. While Yumemi is wearing a skirt, Yumeko has put on the school uniform. This time Yumeko rolls the dice and it lands on number 5. The name of the game is Know Your Fans. They will choose an audience member with a roll of the dice and guess that person's birthday month. Whoever gives the correct or closest date wins the round. When Yumeko rolls the dice, number 31 appears. The student with ticket number 31, Mary, stands up from her seat. At this point Yumimi is panicking, as she has no idea about Mary's birthday since she is not part of the fan club. On the contrary, Yumeko is on cloud 9 as Mary is her friend. Both the girls are given a card on which they have to write the birth month. Yumeko writes the birth month quickly and places it on the table. While writing, Yumeko signs her answer in front of her opponent. But Yumemi overthinks it, assuming that it was Yumeko's strategy. When the cards are revealed, Yumeko has written 6. Yet Mary's birthday is in March, number 3. Since this guest is closer to Mary's birth month, Yumeko wins. She completes 3 in a row, winning the idol match. Yumemi is annoyed. She doesn't understand why Yumeko deliberately signed her answer. In addition to that, she is frustrated by the fact that she wrote 6 when the correct answer was 3. Yumeko clarifies that she had no idea about the answer and she just guessed it. Though she was worried that Yumemi might write the same number, which would end the game with a tie, and it was boring. Because of the agreement, Sayori plays Yumemi's recording in front of the audience. The whole crowd was shocked by their idol's rude words. Though Yumemi admits that this is her true self and she was only pretending to be nice in order to gain fans. At the end, she apologizes for her actions. At that moment, Yumemi thinks that her dream to become a Hollywood star has come to an end, and even Sayori starts crying. Still, the crowd stands up and cheers for her, promising to continue loving and supporting her. This support actually makes Yumemi emotional for the very first time. Upon taking the microphone, Yumeko reminds everyone that the person behind this propaganda is still not revealed. Everyone is puzzled, wondering who that person might be. After a brief pause, Kaede confesses that he gave the envelope to Yumeko. Yumemi then wonders how everything got fixed so easily and finds it strange. Yumeko takes the microphone and announces that the person who planned to end Yumemi's career still has not been revealed. The one who sent the torn letter is still hiding. Yumemi and Saori have someone in mind. They believe that the person who could have conspired against her must be Kaede. Stepping up on the stage, Kaede calls this pure speculation, claiming he aspired to be a student council president, and he will gladly stake his position. Amused, Yumeko finds this statement interesting, suggesting to settle this by gambling. Arrogantly, Kaede refuses to play with her, since a gamble can only be established between those of equal standing. Having said that, Yumeko removes her house pet locket and officially challenges Kaede. Karari has arrived at a mysterious Japanese house, where a girl guides her to a room, explaining that all the family's heads are present there. Back at the match, Itsuki stands up from the audience, stopping Yumeko from playing the match. She wants her to play against the president instead. However, Yumeko never claimed to play with the president only, and Itsuki herself was desperate to make Yumeko the student council president. At first to Kaede, Yumeko was just a mere house pet. Now he has understood that in reality, Yumeko is a compulsive gambler, meaning she isn't affected by the outcome, and she is addicted to the concept of gambling itself. Still, Kaede accepts the challenge, planning to factor all the characteristics of Yumeko into his calculations. While the crowd is excited, Sayaka is panicking as the council members have been losing to Yumeko. She is also worried about the fact that if he wins, then a traitor like him will only gain more power. Stepping forward, Yumimi informs both the players about the requirement of a dealer. Just then, the vice president of the council, Ririka, volunteers and becomes the dealer for this match. According to Ririka, they will be playing choice poker. 5 cards will be used, and the player with better cards will win, though the game will include all 52 cards including jokers. There is a twist. Players can only raise and bet instead of folding and calling. The person who bets more money will be given the right to choose whether the high cards or the low cards win. If they bet more, even a garbage hand can be elevated to the most powerful hand. 1 chip is worth 10 million yen. Yumeko's friends panic. In normal poker, the person with more money has the edge. Even when Yumeko has money, Kaede is a student council member with more funds. At this point, Yumimi's chances of winning are slim. Since Yumeko has 310 million yen, she takes 31 chips. Meanwhile, Kaede buys 100 chips in the first round, which equals 1 billion yen. Each of them throws in 1 chip to start the game. Curious, Yumeko wonders aloud how they will determine which hand will win if both have high cards. Ririk explains that the player with the single highest card wins. Hearing Yumeko's questions, Kaede assumes that Yumeko will definitely be aiming for high cards. At the start, Yumeko exchanges 2 cards, while Kaede trades 1. Now that the hands are established, they have to move on to betting. Considering that Yumeko discarded King and Jack, Kaede is unsure if she is bluffing and actually going for weaker cards or secretly holding something strong. As Kaede's own hand is bad, he is very uncertain. During betting, Kaede bets 10 chips, and Yunemo raises it to 20 chips. As Kaede refuses to raise further, Yumeko gets the option to choose and select strong cards. The moment the cards are revealed, Yumeko has the stronger cards, thus she wins this round. In the second round, after seeing her cards, Yumeko sighs, muttering it is so difficult for her as she isn't familiar with the rules. That being said, Kaede grasps what ticks his opponent. Unlike regular poker, huge raises are useless. Even if he just bets 1 chip higher than her, he will gain the right to choose. Earlier he increased the bet to pressure his opponent. Even so, Yumeko went with such a move as she likes risks. At this point, Kaede needs to play cautiously. In this round, Kaede swaps all 5 cards. Yumeko thinks he is just acting confident. She goes all in with her chips. Raising 1 chip, Kaede gets the right to choose, and he chooses strong cards. The cards get revealed and Kaede wins this round as he actually had stronger cards. Yumeko has not only lost this round but also all her money. The crowd calls it a foolish move. Conversely, Itsuki is upset, as she can see her dream of returning to the council is shattered with Yumeko's loss. Proudly, Kakeidu celebrates his victory, believing that everyone who lost to Yumeko was foolish. Ririka asks Yumeko if she still wants to continue the game even after having no chips. Calling Itsuki, Yumeko requests her to lend her money, as they are friends now and it is her responsibility to help her. Instantly, Kaede tries manipulating Itsuki, offering to reinstate her if she refuses to lend the money. Initially he praises her, but he ends up calling her a loser, yet he would still take her back. Yumeko interrupts, warning Kaede to not talk to Itsuki like that, assuring her that she has great potential. Still, one must take risks in order to achieve something good. Itsuki is very indecisive. She can choose an easy way out and join the council again. Though in the past, Kaede always underestimated her, calling her unworthy of becoming the council member. Even after becoming the council member, Itsuki never got the respect that she deserved. Therefore, Itsuki decides to support Yumeko and bets 1 billion yen for her friend. Sitting in front of the family's heads, Karari is annoyed. They all don't take her seriously, wanting to know why they should obey this girl, calling this meeting useless. As head of the family, Karari rejects them all, as their banal greed and desires disgust her. On the other hand, Itsuki wagers 100 chips. Kaede calls her foolish. However, Itsuki is confident that he will be defeated. Just like that, the match starts again. When Yumeko discards her pair of queens, Kaede assumes she is bluffing him once again. In reality, Yumeko has weak cards. Still, she decides to bet in this round. During betting, Yumeko bets 20 chips. In return, Kaede raises 20 chips as well, though Yumeko isn't ready to give up and raise another 20 chips. In response, Kaede adds 10 chips as well. By the continuous betting, Yumeko is thrilled. Enjoying this, she puts in all her remaining chips. Ket can't help but praise her courage, admitting that she might be someone he could use in his student council. As Yumeko ran out of chips, Itsuki added more money into Yumeko's account. This girl won't back off until she defeats Kaede. Yumeko is happy since she isn't the only one taking risks. Even Kaede and Itsuki are passionate about this game. At the same time, Mary isn't enjoying this game at all. She is aware that Kaede has endless money. If Itsuki keeps adding money, she will eventually lose, and it will be impossible for her to repay the money. Alternatively, Itsuki also realizes that she is close to her limit now. Suddenly, Kaede puts in 100 chips at once. At this point, Itsuki is unable to raise the bet. However, Yumeko reminds her she still has something to bet with. Before Yumeko fell into debt, the student council issued her a life plan, which means a value of 310 million yen has been placed on her life. It is obvious that Itsuki has the same life plan. She can put that on the line. Itsuki is the daughter of the CEO of a major Japanese toy maker. Her life plan would be out of anyone's imagination. Still, if they go that far and Yumeko loses, then Itsuki will be a house pet until she dies. At that moment, Itsuki regrets helping Yumeko. In her eyes, gambling means putting everything on the line. That is the ultimate ecstasy for her. Under Yumeko's constant pressure, Itsuki gets the urge to refuse betting now. In that instant, Yumeko shows her cards and reminds her that this way Itsuki won't reach the top, and it will be her biggest mistake to not take risks with such cards. Witnessing this, Itsuki gets the sudden motivation. She recalls that her ambition wasn't nearly strong enough. It is not the right choice to give up just because she'd lose it all if she failed. Itsuki decides not to run or cry, as she can win with the cards Yumeko just showed. Biting her nails, Itsuki raises the bet with her life plan. At that moment, Kaede declares that the life plan isn't considered as a valid raise, as choice poker is all about the money. Betting something incalculable, such as life, wouldn't work. Yumiko's life plan was made by the president because of her debts, and she isn't here right now, which makes this raise invalid. According to Yumeko, players cannot decide the rules, and only the one in charge can call it invalid. To everyone's surprise, the vice president allows the raise. In this round, Itsuki's raise is valued at 10 billion yen. When Kaede disagrees with the betting, the vice president removes her mask. Everybody's eyes widen and jaws drop as it is none other than Kirari. The whole time the president has been here disguised as the vice president. Because of Itsuki and Yumeko's raise, the total bet is now 12 billion yen. Kaede can either raise 12 billion or give up the right to choose. It is a very tricky situation for Kaede, as he has already put in 3 billion yen, the council's money. In Kaede's childhood, his father always wanted him to work hard and become the deputy minister of finance, to control the country's money. Keeping that in mind, Kaede refuses to give up and bets 10 million yen on his life plan, making the total raise 13 billion yen. Now Yumeko and Itsuki have no more, so Itsuki insists that Ryota and Mary from the audience should bet their life plans. Just then Kirari interrupts, clarifying that people with unstable financial status cannot raise the bet. With 13 billion yen, Kaede gets the right to choose. After a brief pause, he chooses strong cards. Having said that, Itsuki starts crying as her dream is about to shatter, and they will remain house pets for the rest of their lives. Kaede pretends to feel bad for Itsuki, blaming Yumeko's gambling addiction for this outcome. Deep down, Kaede decides to look after Itsuki. She just has to keep pumping out money, and he will be satisfied. Confidently, Kaede reveals his cards. 3 eights. The crowd goes wild by this revelation. He is excited to see his opponent's card, being sure that she pretended to go for a garbage hand by tossing a pair of queens. He is assuming she has a straight flush. Yumeko demands to know whether Kaede thinks Itsuki is doing this just because she incited her. A patron's only job is to bankroll a gambler, but no sane patron would do nothing when it's her money at stake. Excited, Yumeko reveals her cards. 3 jacks. Kaede is speechless. He finds all of it unreal. However, Yumeko notices from the beginning that Kaede was obsessed with being on top with high worth. He actively played when he had strong cards and avoided raising when he had weak knees. Smirking, Itsuki elaborates that Yumeko discarded a pair of queens, pretending to go for high cards. But that alone wouldn't have been enough. If he'd folded, it would have been over. Itsuki's acting also helps strengthen Kaede's confidence in his choice. Kaede's face is pale. He is in no position to say a word. The dream of becoming a president shatters before his eyes, and he has become a house pet with so much debt. Unable to handle the shock, he faints and has to be taken to the hospital. After the match, Kirari remains seated in front of Yumeko. Kirari reveals the urge to see the explosion of a supernova at least once in her life. Yumeko expresses her own intense desires, which fascinate Kirari. Sayaka, who is standing nearby, doesn't understand their conversation. Stepping forward, Runa suggests they both should face each other, as their desires are so similar. Both the girls prepare to gamble against each other, ready to risk everything they have. The day after the match, Ryota confronts Yumeko, asking her if she's serious about the match with the president. Now that Yumeko is facing Kirari head-on, she can't hold herself back any longer. Ryota clarifies he isn't there to stop her, he just wants the chance to see her gamble from the best seat in the house. He realizes at that point that Yumeko has completely bewitched him. In that instant, Mary and Itsuki arrived with a bag having cheating tools, including loaded dice and marked cards. Ryota is disappointed by their behavior, believing in fair play, while the girls insist on cheating. At that moment, Yumeko agrees with Ryota. She wants to gamble sincerely. Later, upon meeting Kirari, Runa and Sayaka, Yumeko and her friends get to know that whoever loses the game will be expelled from the academy. Sayaka and Ryota didn't like this, so they argued about it. However, the rule still stands. To start the game, Itsuki pulls out her deck of tarot cards, but regrets throwing away the marked ones. The game is called Tarot Cards of Destiny. In this game, 22 cards are laid out on a circular table face down. 3 people will choose the cards representing the present, past, and future. Each card represents a number, and the total score will be based on their respective numbers. The catch is that the score will be based on the card's position when flipped up. If the card is facing upward, the score will be plus points, and if reversed, the score will be minus points. If the final score is positive, Yumeko wins. If negative, Kirari wins. Pulling off the top of the deck, Kirari reveals the Fool card, calling it the Joker. If the Fool is drawn, the game ends instantly. Upright means Yumeko wins, and reversed means Kirari wins. Yumeko chose the present card. Kirari chose the past, and for the future card, Kirari chose Ryota. Right now, Ryota is unsure if he can do this, but then he remembers the match with Midari, where both he and Yumeko won because of trusting each other. Just like that, the match begins. After thinking properly, Yumeko draws the magician in the upright position, putting the score at +1. Before her move, the president and Yumeko start having a deep conversation no one else could understand. With that, Kirari draws the world card in the downright position, which is worth 21 points, putting the score to minus 20 points. Abruptly, Runa manipulates Ryota to draw the Fool card. Noticing this, Mary and Itsuki criticize Runa for antagonizing Ryota and accuse her of cheating. Moments later, Mary and Itsuki notice something about the tarot cards, but Runa cuts them off from saying anything because if they do, Ryota will be disqualified. Ryota struggles to choose a card, knowing that everything depends on him. Yumeko assures him to take the match lightly, as she will be the only one who will get expelled. Immediately, Ryota confesses that her loss would hurt him too, which makes her flustered. Out of nowhere, he notices a card with a blue kiss mark. This is likely the Fool card since Kirari had touched it earlier. Mary and Itsuki see that he's noticed it, hoping that he draws it, as they believe that it's the Fool since it's the only card Kirari touched before the game began. Yumeko also notices it, hoping that Ryota doesn't draw it. Mary and Itsuki hope he draws this card, as this way they can win. Conversely, Yumeko hopes he doesn't. Ryota almost flipped that card, but still he stops. It dawns on him, maybe it is a trap. Therefore, Ryota draws the Judgment card with a value of 20. The final total becomes positive and negative 21, ending the match in a draw. Luckily, no one had to leave the academy. Itsuki is disappointed, as she believes if Ryota had flipped the marked card, they would have won. Mary argues with Itsuki, as there was no certainty about that card. Just as they are about to flip it, Runa cleverly collects all the cards. Amid all the chaos, Kirari states that she never expected a draw, which strengthened her belief in fate. Yumeko believes fate has prepared something more fun for them, which is why the game ended with a draw. On the flip side, Runa is on call with someone, explaining that Yumeko won the match, and her gameplay was so good that even the president couldn't handle her. On the other side of the call is the vice president, Ririka, who looks exactly like Kirari. It turns out that both Kirari and Ririka are twins. Sometime later, Ryota reflects on how much the academy has changed. He thinks about how some people have changed, be it with their confidence or personality. Even Nanami, who had been a house pet for such a long time, is now free because of Yumeko. Despite all the changes, Yumeko herself hasn't changed. She's still the same as she was in the beginning, a compulsive gambler. That concludes the anime recap. As always, if you enjoyed, let me know down below and I'm out.